Hearing of the Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order. Over the past year, Americans have learned a painful lesson on the dangers of judicial activism. Lives have been disrupted, life-saving health care has been declared illegal, and women have been denied their fundamental liberties. The chaos began last June the 24th, when the Supreme Court issued its decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. With a single ruling, the right-wing majority overruled 5 decades of legal precedent, revoking a constitutional right for the first time ever in the history of this nation. In the years leading up to the Dobbs decision, we were warned about the danger of overruling Roe versus Wade. Medical experts warned us it would unleash an immediate health care crisis across this nation. Legal experts warned us that it would establish a dangerous precedent in which unelected judges can deny fundamental freedoms. And women across the country warned us that overturning Roe versus Wade would insert politicians and judges into the most personal decision imaginable, and ultimately force women into continuing pregnancies that may not be viable or may endanger their lives. Tragically, all of these warnings have proven to be true. I'd like to turn to a video on the impact of the Dobbs decision.
Court issuing that landmark ruling that this nation has been bracing for, and the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, that they have eliminated the constitutional right to an abortion.
People will suffer unnecessary harm as doctors wait for permission from hospital lawyers to tell them that they can proceed. In some circumstances, the abortion care will come too late.
The fallout from the Supreme Court ruling about abortion rights is growing.
What else they can do. I mean, the states that have 12-week bans or 15-week bans want to go to 6-week or total bans altogether. So this is going to be only the beginning of the next phase.
Muzzled and shackled, that's what doctors anonymously tell CNN they are experiencing from their employers, who won't let them explain the effects of abortion restrictions to patients and the public.
It is so heartbreaking to see patients who've had to travel so far to get basic health care.
We're hearing stories all across the country of people who are in dire circumstances, complications of their pregnancies, or traumatic situations, and are needing abortion care and not able to get it.
Is it worse than you imagined?
It's worse faster.
So it was very painful, and honestly, I can't take any medicine because I still am pregnant, so I felt down into like deep depression and just was in pain all the time.
With the Dobbs decision, Justice Alito and the majority claimed that overruling Roe would finally settle the so-called controversy over abortion by returning the issue to the states and elected leaders. Well, months later, we've learned the opposite is true. The Dobbs decision didn't resolve anything. It merely replaced controversy with chaos, and it paved the way for activist judges and Republican lawmakers to try to impose their anti-choice agenda on everyone else, even in states that have protected the right to abortion. Their ultimate goal is clear: total ban on abortion nationwide. So instead of ending the debate on abortion, Dobbs was really the beginning of a different debate. How far will the war on women's health go before we say enough is enough? From the moment Roe was overruled, women and medical professionals were thrust into a sea of confusion and fear. The laws surrounding abortion and miscarriage management seem to be changing by the week, and doctors have no idea if the care they provided today will be legal tomorrow. A few weeks ago, a judge in Amarillo, Texas, issued a nationwide ruling banning one of the safest forms of reproductive care, mifepristone. It's a medication approved more than 20 years ago by the Food and Drug Administration. It is used in more than half of all abortions in America, and it is used to help women suffering from miscarriages. This medicine has a safety profile better than penicillin, Tylenol, and Viagra. Thankfully, the Supreme Court issued a temporary reprieve by staying the decision last week. So for the moment, mifepristone remains on the market as a case is considered on the merits. But the district court's judge's initial ruling marked the first time ever that a judge has overruled the FDA to ban a medication that they deem safe and effective, medical and scientific experts backing them up at our federal drug regulatory agency. It begs the obvious question, what's next? Is it going to be birth control pills? The morning after pill? Do we want to live in a country where judges and politicians replace doctors, medical experts, and scientists as the arbiters of which drugs are safe? The number of horror stories that have emerged over the past year is staggering. Stories of rape victims as young as 10 years of age being denied health care because of laws outlawing abortion. Stories of women being forced to leave their home states and travel hundreds of miles to access basic reproductive care services. Stories of pregnant women suffering miscarriages who've been turned away by doctors who, through no fault of their own, are afraid of breaking this law in this new Dobbs world. You'll hear one of these stories this morning. That's why Congress needs to step up and address this chaos. We need to respect the women's rights of women to make their own health care decisions. And we can do it by passing the Women's Health Protection Act, which would restore abortion access across America. Now the question is, will our Republican colleagues stand with the vast majority of Americans who support legal access to abortion? With that, I turn to Ranking Member Graham for his opening statement.